And that's a huge difference. This is what I believe that he is implying when he says you need to be considerate. You need to be considerate because your salvation is means to an end. Your salvation, as you choose a spouse, whether you're a man or a woman, as you raise children, as you move into the legacy of the gospel, is for the discipling of the nations. In other words, through the lenses of the Old Testament and now the New Testament, we cannot continue creating the divorce between Sunday morning worship experience and then Monday night, business decisions. Sunday school, small group, Bible study time, divorce from, the intimacy of how I'm treating my wife and how I look at myself and how I raise my children. Life is seen, perceived holistically. So what happens at home eventually is reflected on how the world moves. And it is through the nucleus of a submissive wife and the nucleus of a considerate husband that literally the gospel penetrates not only at home, not only to children and their children, but literally to the nations. And this is why the Apostle Peter speaks with the urgency to remind and said, I want you to be considerate and I want you to live. I want you to do life, not just believe, but do life in a manner with your, this is beautiful, with your wives. With the person that you chose, with the person that potentially was a vehicle for you to be saved, potentially is the individual that has given you the privilege to make life easier. Speaking as a pastor, I'm telling you, marrying Areli and raise children with Areli, we have 3 children, has become one of the greatest blessings. And this is why, because in the qualifications to exercise vocational ministry is exactly how life at home is built. And I'm telling you, I'm privileged to serve in a local church besides the calling, besides whatever God has called me to be and do, which was at a personal level, but it's because of the life that for the last 23 years, my wife and we have been able to build in the context of this process. And this is why I'm reminded that when it comes to marriage, for those who are single, you should be tweeting this, you should be putting this on Facebook, and you should be putting this somewhere in your Bible. Just write it down. Marriage is not about feeling in love the rest of your life. People change. Feelings change. And some of these things we cannot control how we feel. The bottom line, here is the bottom line. Marriage is about building not our lives together. Is building the life of Jesus together. How do you do that? You do that by submitting, by putting your life under the teaching of the apostles. So I'm going to say this one more time as you look into the possibility of marriage. For those who are married, for those who are thinking about marrying again and are praying to get married again, I want you to listen to this. As you choose, as you look, as you date, as you continue and build your marriage, I'm going to say this one more time. As much as I believe in feelings, and feelings are important, I do not disregard feelings. Emotions, they are crucial, but they cannot be the driving force of life. Again, if you picture that train that I've been telling you in the past, feelings, they gotta be the caboose. They gotta be the last of those, the last of the train, not the beginning. This is why our world is upside down. This is why Peter feels and senses the urgency to speak to this generation because, they are in a lot of trouble. Now, he says, this is what he says, but when you understand that this is about building the life of Jesus together in the family nucleus, he says, now, I want you to do this with your wives, which implies you need to treat them, who's it them? The wives, the vehicle that God has used to literally bring the gospel into existence, into your life, with respect as the weaker partner. Again, I'm privileged to just enjoying life with Areli this coming Sunday, a week from today. Actually, on the 19th, is our 23rd anniversary. And in the pilgrimage of 23 years, I was privileged to see the birth of to be a part of the birth of my 3 children. And I can assure you that when it comes to childbearing, this word weaker is not about a person that is, character, that the character is weak. I'm more than convinced that this has to do with the logical common understanding, which is common sense, that men are physically stronger than women typically. We have 3 children, and we have our youngest is a son, so we have a 22, a 20-year-old, and almost 18, and at this point, he's definitely stronger than the girls. For many, many years, he was weaker. But now, because, they all have become young adults. And I think this passage is speaking more than the character, I think is the physicality. So this is why when I found this little thing on the internet, I had to share that with everybody, because I'm going to show you how strong mothers, ladies, young ladies are. This is a chart which illustrates how children call on mom and how children call on dad, okay? And here's what we typically as children, we say, Mom, I'm hungry, I'm cold, I'm hot, I want to watch. Look at the questions. Where are you? Talking to mom. Can you ask dad? Can you help me? He hurt me. I want to go there. When are we? Why are we? And then the last one. Why can we? All of those questions to mom, just because moms typically, they are kind of just the backbone of the family. At least that's been my experience. And then when it comes to dad, one question, where's mom? That's all that matters, right? Well, here's the thing. I believe Peter is exactly speaking in the same sense. Apparently, 2,000 years ago, there was a component of abuse. There was a component of just, again, the perception of life. It's pretty obvious that historically we understand that women have always been, in this context of the Bible, under, in some sort of a second-class citizen. For many years, that was the experience of culture until the gospel penetrates. And what Jesus does, what the gospel does, it creates a complete new experience, not only personally, but also communally. And this is what I believe Peter is instructing the men to respect, to honor. Although they are weaker, a weaker vassal, a weaker member of the family physically, but this is the problem. This is the instruction. And you go into the two churches in Thessalonica. Listen to the instruction. Paul speaking to the churches. Apparently, listen before I read this. Apparently, in these churches 2,000 years ago, there was a sense of craziness and dysfunctionality when it comes to how they treated their bodies. And I'm speaking from the infiltration of non-Christian philosophies that all that you have to do is believe in Jesus no matter what you do with your body. All you have to do is just believe in Jesus no matter how you make decisions, no matter if you let your feelings drive you, no matter if you let your personal appetites run in your decision making. This is why Paul, speaking to the church, says the following: to each of you, community, men and women, should learn. Because apparently they were not learning. Apparently they were stubborn. They were set on their ways to do what? To control your own body. And this is what it means to control it. This is what it means. It's not that you deprive yourself from things. It's that you understand that learning that the purpose of your entire being, from your spirit to your soul, to your emotions, to your body, they're supposed to be that of something that has been set apart. That's what the word holy means. That your body, your mind, your emotions, yourself has been set apart, not just for God, but also for your spouse. So the context of this type of teaching is just promiscuity. The context of this type of words is the understanding that you can have a wife, but you can have concubines. So when you read from Paul, the same author, you read in Ephesians, that he says in Ephesians chapter 5, that the wives are to submit to the husbands, and the husbands are supposed to love their wives. Revolutionary, because in this time in history, again, and this time the understanding for men when it came to women, it was basically for the purpose to give me children, and they better be men. They better be the male that can continue the legacy of the name or the legacy of whatever the inheritance. In this case, the Apostle Paul, alongside with Peter, says you need to control your own bodies in a way that reflects the holiness of God, but specifically that is honorable.